is 3:32, so we'll call the Tuesday, March 30th FARGODOME Authority meeting to order. Before we get to the minutes, are there any additions to the agenda, revisions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
First by Dave, second by Troy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Thank you. On to number 1, approval of the February 23rd minutes. I'd entertain a motion there.
Move to approve.
First by Nancy. Second by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Any old business to bring before the authority? Hearing none, we'll move on to number 3, new business. Rob.
All right, we'll go right into the February financial reports. As a reminder, there was not a quorum at the Finance Committee earlier or last week, so this will need a motion from the authority, a separate motion for approval based on that. Page 3, as always, the month, which would be of February, is on the left-hand side of the page. The year-to-date is on the right-hand side. Starting with the month of February, we had 4 events with a attendance of just over 15,600. That was about 32,600 people below the budget that runs through for the month of March. But that also included Monster Jam, the Red River Valley Home and Garden Show, the Kiwanis Pancake Feed, NDSU Spring Career Fair, and the Corn and Soybean Expo, all of which were canceled for 2021. So we had a total event income of just over 98,000. We had indirect expenses of just over 343,800. So we had a net deficit for the month of February of $113,100. So that was significantly below the budget of a surplus of 126,800. However, as we move into the event comments, you can see that we had the one NDSU event on February 21st. That had an event income of just over 35,000, so that's not bad considering it was less than about 42% attendance, or 42% of the budget, but less than 50% attendance. So it was good in that route. On the trade show side, 97,500 below budget. That is due to the cancellations of the Home and Garden Show and the Corn and Soybean Expo. The state wrestling tournament did happen, however, attendance was limited some, so that came in below budget due to the lower attendance, which impacts all of our ancillary revenue. So we were about 24,000 below budget there. Monster Trucks was $142,000 below budget. And then the meeting rooms, obviously not much activity going there. I left this one, I'm not foreshadowing anything, but I think it's something that the board should be interested in when you look at it. So the home show and the soybean expo, which take up 8 to 10 days, the home show is 7 days in the building, the corn and soybean expo 2 days in the building. That would have been home show was about 80,000, 85,000. Soybean expo about $12,000. Monster Jam with the dirt takes up 5-6 days at $142,000. February is one of our prime months with the Kiwanis Pancake and the NDSU Spring Career Fair. Those take up a combined 6 days in the building, and really combined only account for about $12,000 of income. So it's something, as we've talked about moving forward, when we're looking at our building schedules, how certain things might need to be required to be more flexible as we move forward here and try to make up some revenue or change things around as well. I just think it's an important educational aspect for the authority to be aware of. Mm-hmm. On the other expense side of things, the labor was about 11,500 above budget due to a couple of things. Obviously, we still don't really have any full-time overtime. The one suite catering kitchen position has not been hired yet. However, we are starting to do interviews for that hopefully in mid-April. And then also the city did not do their competitive wage adjustment at the start of 2021. The operations department was about $11,000 below budget as well, due to a mild month with obviously no steam, or not much steam. Snow removal was very low. However, some of that was offset with the electricity. So January for Excel was a $4,000 update or under accrual to make up for that, as well as in about $2,500 in February, so that with Excel having their interim rate adjustment in place now while they're seeking approval for that. Any questions on the month of February?
Thanks, Rob.
Yep, not a problem. So we had just finished the month of February, going over that, and you'll be punished for dropping off, so I'm not gonna review it for you again. You can go back and watch the videotape. It'll be available. So the month of, or year-to-date then through February, we've had 7 events, just about 21,500 people. Event income of 142,500. We've had indirect expenses of 691,000. So we do have a net deficit through the first 2 months of just over $290,800. That is compared to a budgeted deficit of $89,000, or $69,000. So we are about $220,000 below our budget, but obviously, as we've talked a lot, January, February, March have still felt the impact of the pandemic in the entertainment industry. So we've had events that were scheduled that have canceled, or our annual events that have canceled, as we discussed. I think it's important to note out that we still do have, we're maintaining our operating expenses and watching that, as we are still about $91,500 below budget on the operating expenses. So our team here continues to watch all of that. Any questions on financials?
No, like Rob said, we did not have a quorum at finance last Wednesday, so I'd entertain a motion to approve the February month-to-date and year-to-date financials. First by Dave, second by Mike. Is this roll call or is this just?
This would be roll call.
Okay.
Troy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Yes.
And Rick? Okay, so cool.
Rick.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Page 13 is the past and upcoming events, as we talked about a little bit since our last meeting, which was February 23rd. We did have the Red River Valley Sportsman Show. That started moving in on Monday, March 1st, and opened up their event Thursday evening, the 4th, and ran through Sunday, the 7th. Attendance was good, slightly down from 2020, but I think given everything going on, we were very pleased with the attendance, and a lot of the vendors I spoke to said that they were having a good show as well. From a vendor standpoint, obviously there was not as much Canadian traffic for the outfitters, things such as that. And maybe that was the case where it was the first 50-degree weekend in Fargo, if I remember, so that might have kept some people away as well. Following that, then we had another NDSU football game versus Illinois State on Saturday the 13th. And then they also had another game on Saturday the 20th versus UND. So that's, any questions on any past events, comments from the board?
So I'm just curious, what is the percentage of seats they're filling?
For NDSU football?
Yeah.
The first 2 games, so the February game and the March 13th game, were a little less. The mayor had approved, with working with NDSU, to go up to as many as 9,500. And so they were in that 7,000, 6,500 range for the first two games. And then the UND game actually was in that 9,100 range. So pretty well attended, all things considered. For South Dakota State, they will be somewhere in between, probably closer to the UND game versus the Illinois State game as far as attendance is concerned.
Just a curiosity, thanks.
Yep. Moving forward then, still have plans for the South Dakota State game this coming Saturday with NDSU. Obviously, I'm sure you've all heard the stories or read the stories, heard the chatter on that. So just kind of standing by, hoping for the best, knowing that if something should happen with that, we do have Saturday, April 17th open, and I believe actually NDSU and South Dakota State have that as an open time as well. So the good news is that if things with the positive test continue to not be favorable, that hopefully would only be a postponed game and not a canceled game. So there definitely is a silver lining with that if it were to happen. Then on Sunday the 11th, as weird as it seems to have college football in the spring, even more weird to have youth football in the spring. So a new tenant Midwest Premier Football League. You might know them, the FM Invaders play a little bit. So the owner or manager of that league is running a youth football series this spring as well. So they'll be in here on Sunday the 11th. Doing some things, and then the potential of the NCAA football FBS playoffs would start. Their opening round would be on Saturday the 24th, with the other rounds on May 1st and May 8th. Any questions on any past events, upcoming events? As I mentioned at the Building Finance Committee, looking forward into June, we have made the decision based on where everything is with vaccinations and things. We are moving forward with Happy Harry's Rib Fest, and that'll be June 9th to the 12th. So I think everybody's looking forward to that, and hopefully that light starts to get brighter and brighter at the end there. So we're on a good path.
Still working on acts for that.
From you, Rob, those are great words. We're on a good path.
Well, I decided that it is the 30th of the month, so I could pick one day to, just like law enforcement tries to write off more traffic tickets for their quota, I had to hit my one day of positivity for the month, so I hang it till the end.
You saved it for us.
Yes, I saved it for you. The acts, no, we don't have anything booked there. Still looking. Have some offers out now, just to see what's available and the costs and everything such as that.
Okay. Thank you.
If there are no other questions, that would be the end of my report.
Okay, thanks, Rob. We'll move on to committee reports, and Mike is going to help us out on that. And
Yes, so the finance reports have already been covered, and the next on the item is the economic impact study that was handed out. I think this is a great study, a great report. I won't go through much. The only things I will highlight is, the study was last done, I believe, in 2002, and so it's been some time. The report is for surveys of 2019. The direct economic impact for the FARGODOME was 42.4 million, and then there's secondary effects for the community of almost 70 million. So, and that's 535,000 plus attendees. So I think the FARGODOME is definitely making a huge impact to the community and for the community. The food and beverage point of sale, right now they are in a review. They are narrowed it down to 3 finalists, so they'll be looking at making a decision in the near future. Some project updates, the dressing room and catering rooms, they're down to punch lists and just trying to get some of the last details completed. Canopy repairs, that's out for proposals right now. They're due in April. LED light project, Rob is working with Varberg Engineering and RLE on that, and there'll be more to come in the future. The ticketing, FARGODOME, they've received 3 responses. They're still, or the staff right now is reviewing them, and we'll set up interviews in this future. The shuttering venue grant, Rob is looking at that, and the FARGODOME will be applying for a grant. The website, they're looking at doing a little refresh on that. The last time that was done was in 2011, 2012. And then the escrow balance through January, it's sitting at almost 14%, so pretty good. So with that, I would that would conclude the building and finance reports.
Just a couple notes on that. One, with the shuttered venue, Rob is not looking into that. Rob just reported. Susan's doing all the legwork on that. So kudos to her on everything she's going through and dealing with the Small Business Association on that. I think she's been working on that since the end of December. And then on the website, it's probably safe to say it's a little bit more than a little refresh. It's probably a rip it down and build it up new again. So it'll be probably anticipated to be a little bit more expensive than a refresh on that as we start to do the request for qualifications to just look at qualified firms, and as part of that response, they will be asked for a slight opinion of cost on that as well. So more to come on all that. Sorry to jump in on you, Mike.
That's all that I have.
On the F&B point of sale, do you guys pretty much know what's the system of choice from other venues, or is it wide open as far as
You know what,
what to choose?
it is wide open all over. I will say that primarily a lot of venues are using the micro system, which is what we currently have. There are a lot of venues also using the bypass system, and a lot of venues, Appetize is another one that's come on in the United States, and then Volante is one that is outside of mostly Canadian based, but a lot of venues are using it, and those kind of seem to be the main ones, and the finalists that they're getting more information on come from that group as well.
Okay, okay.
I didn't get word today, so my guess is that it'll be on the agenda for the Finance Building Committee meeting
Okay.
in April for a requested approval on that.
So we have a motion by Mike. Do we need a second since he's not committee chair, do you know, or we don't?
He is the committee chair.
For the, oh, sure, okay. So we'll just do a roll call?
Troy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Rick?
Rick?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to number 4, so it's nominating committee time. And so are these for the 4 officer positions?
These would be for the 4
For
officer
officer,
positions.
okay.
Every one of the officers right now is only in their first year. Typically, it's a 2-year term. So, of course, it would be up to the nominating committee if they want to choose the existing roster,
okay.
or if they think the leadership has been just very, let us write
Yeah, I know,
write
right.
down the tubes in 2020,
Right,
but
yeah. We did lose
you know.
money for the first time. Okay, well, I would like to appoint Troy and Dave. And Nancy, we didn't get a chance to talk. Do you want to be on the nominating committee?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Troy, Dave, and Nancy. I'd like to appoint them. Any objections or comments to that? If none, I'd entertain a motion. First by Mike,
Second.
Second by Rick, thank you. Is this roll call?
Troy?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yep.
Rick?
Yes.
Mike?
Okay, thank you. Any additional items? Hearing none, we're adjourned.